And the reason why I decided to create this little platform is um, to allow us to connect, but also I think it will be really good for just all of us to know who's doing what, who's engaged in the community, but also who's doing what in terms of entrepreneurship, leadership, and all those kind of things. So by having this neat kind of network, it will make it easier for us to collaborate or to refer to provide each other reference in terms of like, okay, if I know if someone is looking for, let's say, service, and I know JD provides that service, it's easier for you to just look around your circle and say, well, maybe you can talk to JD. If I know Charles does this and there is somebody who's looking for a service that Charles offers, it's easier for me to do that. But also for our young people, specifically for the topic of today, it will allow them to kind of connect as well with people who are either doing something that they would love to get involved in, or just to have a mentor, someone they can go to if they have a question. So, my friends, allow me to start the discussion. And if you have any questions, we have a chat box. Feel free to ask questions as we go. But I will just request you to maybe mute your um, devices so I can start, and then we can go on from there. All right. So today's topic is called embracing the culture of mentorship. And I'm sure a lot of you have had of mentorship or have been mentored by somebody before. And this might not be new to you, but I still think there is a lot that needs to be kind of like adopted, especially when it comes to mentorship, whereby it's, for me, my dream is to see mentorship becoming almost like a right, almost like something that's a necessity, rather than having mentorship as a privilege where you only have access to mentorship if you go to college or if you go to university. I want it to be embedded in our culture. I want it to become adopted. I want it to become a normal, everyday thing in our lives. And that specifically when it comes to I'll say visible minorities, specifically Black people. I know myself, I have had a few mentors along the way, but had I had mentors before, earlier, I think um, I won't say my life would have been easier, but I think I could have, navigated the system a little bit easier and faster in terms of like advice. I think I could have got better advice in, when it comes to, let's say, course selections, how to apply for scholarships and things like that. So I think the more we embrace this, the more we make it part of our culture, I think the better it is for all of us in general. So that's why I said, we have to embrace it and make it a culture, not just a thing that you get when you go to school or when a teacher feels sorry for you. I want it to become part of our culture where parents encourage their kids to find mentors. Yes, it's great to have parents around you who give you advice, but it's also better to have someone other than your parents who, with whom you have that trust, and they can share their experience and values with you. All right, so I just want to give you a quick context of what we're dealing with right now. So I read somewhere in an article that was written, I think, earlier this year, which says, being Black in Canada can feel deflecting, paralyzing, and oppressive. And as a 29-year-old 29-year-old guy turning 30 in October, I still feel this way. I still feel like being Black is some kind of like a burden. You walk on the street, you walk in a neighborhood, you kind of like cautious. Oh, are these people going to think that I'm okay? You start smiling awkwardly because you're trying to justify why you are present. Now, imagine a young person, someone who's, let's say, 14, even 10 years old, experiencing this already. What does that do to his confidence? What effect does that feeling have on his ability to integrate, to take opportunity? So here are some of the factors or the outcomes of that feeling for young people, even adults, but I'm going to specifically talk about young people. It creates identity issues. You start questioning yourself. Do I belong here in Canada? Am I Canadian? Am I African? What's happening? And that, in addition to the publicity, the news and negative media, police shootings and, discrimination. Kids are not being taught about successful Black people. They only talked about slavery. And I think a young person told me that, Carol told me about, the fact that, in schools, a lot of time, instead of, talking about emancipation, some great black leaders or visible minority leaders, they always talk about slavery. What does that do to a person's self-esteem? It breaks it down. It creates fear. It creates barriers to participation. So these are some of the issues that young people are dealing with. Now, this has created a sense of urgency, an urgency that has become even much more apparent, especially in these days. I'm not saying this emergency has never been there. It has always been there, but now it's even worse given, obviously, the social pressures and issues happening with police brutality and these people becoming a little bit more vocal. Kids are becoming even more, I would say, I don't know, they're becoming more uh, it's affecting them on different levels, both mentally. You see bullying, you see media shooting. It really has a negative impact on your psyche as well. So as a result, obviously over the years this has been happening, but there's been an increase in high school dropouts, and throughout Canada that has increased, where we have, let's say, between 5% to 14% of high school dropout rates. But at the same time, in visible minority community or low income community, that number is even higher. 50% are likely to drop out of high school. That shows you that, what, there is such a big problem happening. And these challenges go beyond high school. They follow them throughout their lives as they become, let's say, they start looking for jobs. Some of them decide to go to university. Some of them want to go to university, but due to these issues that I talked about, those self-esteem issues, they want to go to university, but they don't think they were built for university. Because when your mind has been kind of like flooded by all these negative stereotypes and you see what's happening out there, self-doubt and all those kind of things, it doesn't matter what you want to do. Sometimes you don't feel like you're good enough to do those things. So I think there's so many solutions to that. And thankfully, due to the current movement, Black Lives Matter, a lot of things are starting to happen on a, I'll say, on kind of like a global scale, broadly. But I think at a grassroots level, one key, I think, step that we need to take or consider quite seriously is that thing of mentorship. I think mentorship could truly be one of the keys to kind of like opening up doors for our young people. We need to embrace mentorship. Like I said, mentorship has been there, but I don't think we have taken it that seriously. And I don't think we have really understood or considered how much impactful this can be for our young people, especially when it comes to restoring their self-esteem, restoring their belief. Having some people to believe in them and tell them, you know what, man, you can do it. I did it. All right. So again, some starts here. Why mentorship matters. Well, people who have mentors are most likely to attend college because they will believe in themselves. People who are being discriminated against or who are in families that have kind of like issues, financial, domestic abuse. If they find mentors, a lot of time they can succeed if they have a mentor or someone outside their family to believe in them. They grow intellectually, interpersonally, but also their emotions can actually benefit from having someone other than their parents to mentor them. They become better planners, their behaviors, attitude, they grow and participate socially and economically. They can grow a lot from having a mentor. Now, this is not just to prove that, that mentorship is quite, I think, an important element in our society. A lot of companies, big companies, have adopted mentorship in their day-to-day running of businesses, including the government. So you have all these companies like Boeing, PayPal, Intel, Deloitte, DHL, Google. They have all embraced mentorship and made it a significant part of their whole company organization and basically the growth of their companies. And believe me, they are reaping great rewards by making mentorship one of the key elements of their companies. All right, so I think that tells us something. It tells us that mentorship truly matters. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the organization that I lead, which is Urban Youth Leadership Alliance. Right now, Urban Youth Leadership Alliance is basically a platform that provides young people or from racialized or marginalized communities with an opportunity to participate, self-discover, but also to lead and become active in their communities. We are we are founded on three main pillars: growth and development, community engagement, and advocacy. Now, we also want to include virtual mentorship program, something I call MVP, not VMP. A virtual mentorship program will make mentorship accessible to every single person within Ontario. We don't care where you are, if you're in Windsor, you're in, I don't know, wherever you are, we want to make sure that every single young person who needs a mentor has access to a mentor. Now, we'll do that using virtual tools. And I think mentorship has also to change. We have to change the way we understand mentorship from the traditional, let's go for a coffee, let's hang out for a year or something like that, to something very virtual that allows young people to feel comfortable to be met where they are. And I think we really have a solution for that. We'll be led by something called, accessibility, agility, and usability. Those are the fundamentals on which our mentorship program has been built. Now, um, what's the next step? How could you be involved in this? I highly encourage you to sit down and think about what I just said right now. Our young people are in need. They're in need for people who believe in them. They're in need for people other than their parents who need them. And I highly encourage you to invest some of your time, not too much. And if you want to know how you can do that, please let me know after this and we'll discuss. But young people need you. They need your time. They need your knowledge. They need your experience. And also we need something so we can learn from them as well. All right. So here's my information on how you can get in touch with me. Here's the resources that I use to basically compile this document, and I'm be more than willing to sit down and chat more about what I just presented right now. So that concludes my presentation. It's longer than I thought due to obviously we've been disrupted with delays and all those kind of stuff. But I would like to go to the next the next phase, which is let's chat. What do you think about what I just presented right now? So I have created a few questions here that will help us guide us through this presentation or through this discussion on networking. So yeah, I would like one thing, right? Just you can put on back your mics or you can get in the chat box and answer some of these questions. So what comes in your, okay, before you do that, tell us your name and then something cool about you, and then we'll go down to the questions. All right. So the first question will be, what comes to your mind when you hear the word mentorship? Again, your name, one thing, one cool thing about you, and then we can go down to the questions. All right. Please, the floor is open. Anyone? What about, let me call names. What about Carol? Do you want to tell us your name and then one cool thing about you and what comes in your mind when you hear about the word mentorship?
My name is Carol. Something cool about me. I'm learning how to skateboard. The first thing that comes to mind when I hear the word mentor is kind of like a guide to a path that you want to take when in the future. Yeah, that's what comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. All right. Charles.
Hey, can you guys hear me? Sorry, I'm kind of driving, but I'll be home in like 2 minutes.
For sure.
Yeah, I've been hearing you. So, yeah, thank you for all the good information. Yeah, and again, my name is Charles. So, yeah, to me, mentorship is being there for young. It could be a young person or someone who's new, and anyone who's seeking information, and you're just there to help them with the knowledge that you have. Just basically guiding, yeah, being a big guidance in their life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Charles. JD.
Hey guys, I think, like you said, mentorship isn't something that is embraced in the Black community, and I think it's absolutely important, right? Like, anybody, like you talked about, like even whether it's companies, and most successful people you talk to, they will tell you that mentorship has absolutely been critical and important for them. So I think it's important that you're bringing it to everybody.
Thank you. And one cool thing about you.
One cool thing about me, I just went out and got a dog, trying to walk it, and get it to get used to me.
Yeah, that's cool. Actually, I think that's another thing. Yeah, like you said, companies, when you talk to all these big organizations and everything, they realize that mentorship is truly, it's one of those key elements to not only transfer that corporate knowledge, but also just a culture and providing people with an opportunity to, to grow and to self-discover, so it's really, really important. Yeah, thank you, JD. And Chance is joining us finally. Chance, thank you for coming after 2 hours. No, just kidding. Yeah, so Chance, we've finished the presentation, but we are now in the discussion phase where we are talking about mentorship. So one thing that I would like to encourage you to do right now is just tell us your name, one cool thing about you, and what comes to your mind when you hear the word mentorship. I think you're muted. Oh, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi. What's up, everyone? The name is Claude Mutuku. I literally just dropped everything that I was doing. Remembers that today was a very special day. Name is Claude Mutuku, as you've heard, and entrepreneur. And that's kind of the area that I function in mostly. I run two businesses, and yeah, that's basically all there is.
So what comes to your mind when you hear the word mentorship?
What comes to mind when I hear mentorship is a catalyst in growth, and what that means is I think it's something that kind of speeds up the process of developing as a person, or in whatever kind of sector that you're working in. And we can revisit that in a little bit, because having mentors has done an incredible amount of has added an incredible amount of speed to my development. Yeah, so that's what comes to mind.
Okay.
The growth.
Perfect. Yeah, so we're gonna go to the next question, which is, have you had or been a mentor before? If yes, a few words. What was I writing? This doesn't make any sense. In a few words, how would you define your experience? We will start with Chance this time, and then we'll go around. Just in a few words, if you've had or you've been mentored, and so how would you define your experience?
Oh, absolutely. So my experience started from, it's kind of a personal trait. I like to just do things, out of curiosity. So actually, most of my mentors, it started either from me literally just walking into an office unannounced, sending a very a very long DM on Instagram. And particularly in one case where it's somebody who runs it's a business that is coming close to $1 billion in revenue, and he likes to kind of keep a low profile. But again, that started from literally just like a simple message on Instagram, and you fast forward to today where he's someone who I get a lot of business advice from, and then also have mentors within the real estate industry. And what I've found is it's not even, when you think about mentorship, it's not something that that's like, oh, you have to hang out with these people every day. To me, mentorship is something that's, it's very simple with the guy who runs that company that's close to $1 billion. Sometimes I talk to him like once every 3 months. You know what I mean? And it's very, very simple. And I think it's, once we begin, looking at it in this sense, as if, you don't have to be the person's best friend every day, then, I think we could all definitely benefit from it.
Hmm. Definitely. What about you, JD? Have you been mentored, and if so, how would you define your experience?
Um, not directly as I would have, but yes, I have. I reached out to a couple of people and just ask questions or ask them to be an advisor, and I talk to them and ask them questions whenever they come up. Um, I think one of the things that I see, for example, is friends that I have, right, who we may not see as a mentorship role, but the friends that I have and the friends that I keep are also mentors in my life. Like even with, for example, JC, yourself, um, when I have questions or when I have things I'm pondering, I'll call you and and ask, right. And through some of our conversations, um, your perspectives gives me a different perspective and that kind of stuff. So in part, that's partly mentorship.
Mhm.
So yeah, so mentorship comes to different forms. But yeah, so in terms of form, um, not some that I can think of right now, but yeah, in terms of like books that I read or people that I talk to or friends that I talk to, I get some mentorship there.
Hmm. Thank you, JD. Carol, what do you think? Have you been a mentor? Have you been mentored? And how would you define that experience? Mr. Carol?
I've never actually been mentored.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so let's say if you were to find a mentor, or based on what we talked about, what would you look for in that person? I know this is kind of like, throwing to you a curveball, but what would you look for in that
I don't
person?
know.
Hmm. Yeah, that's honest. That I think, and sometimes I think we don't really uh, know exactly what we're looking for, but I guess based on what we're saying right now, it's just it depends with where you are, right? So like in Chance's situation, when you have a certain interest or something related to, let's say you have a question, business question or something, that will trigger you to actually go and look for someone who might have those solutions. And the same thing in your position, for instance, as a young person, as you self-discover and you start finding those questions, I'm sure there'll be a time when you want a perspective, you want to share something, you want someone to listen to you. And I guess it goes with growth as well, like JD said as well, just having that circle of friends that we sometimes don't realize are mentoring us, but directly or indirectly they're mentoring us through their actions, their words, or just being there and listening to our perspectives as well, right? So that's really cool. I'm gonna jump to Charles really quickly. And Charles, have you been mentored, or have you mentored, and how would you define your experience?
Hey, Chance, you're welcome, man.
What's up, my man? I know your name was saying iPhone, so I'm like, who's iPhone?
Yo, yeah, they've been making fun of me.
Of course, brother. Nice to
Yeah,
see you.
yeah, good to hear from you, man. Long time.
I know.
I'm gonna talk about my community, like where I used to live. Yeah, like we have a lot of young kids in my neighborhood, like, and yeah, we have talked to a lot of kids that need help. Like, sometimes you don't know like how much your words means. Like just talking to someone like those little kids, young kids that need help, like it helps a lot. So I've definitely done that to my area and in my community too. So I've definitely mentored people. Uh, and to myself, I would go back way back to my high schools. Um, I've talked to teachers, like the teachers who are willing to help people, uh, and they are actually been really good in my life. And like we like friends, like you guys, JC, Chance, Yemery, like we always talk, when I have a problem or if I need help with something, or if I want to go for like certain things, certain programs that I want to do, I always talk to JC and Yemery, like, yeah, just having good friends and who are actually willing to help. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna end there.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Charles, man. Yeah, it's really cool, and that's the thing, just that circle also, right? But also being cognizant of those moments, right? Just thinking about those, I think, is also important in just
Mm-hmm.
us, accepting and embracing this culture, saying, you know what, it's okay for me to ask questions. It is okay for me to go and kind of like share an idea with someone and see what they think. And that's what we're trying to say by embracing that culture is, saying, yeah, if you have something that's within you, it doesn't have to be something related to your academic or career development. It can also be something about your own personal growth and just having that ability to say, you know what, I don't have to ponder this on my own. I can go and talk to X and Y. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what I mean by culture, is just saying it is okay for me to have someone, but also that someone being accessible, that someone being there, I think is really, really important. I guess given that time is really flying, we're going to skip question number 3 and go to would you ever consider becoming a mentor and why? We will start with Charles this time.
Uh, yeah, I would definitely consider because I've been mentored, like I told you, like my teachers in school, you guys, like friends around me. Yeah, I would definitely be willing to like help anyone who want help with anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go to JD. Would you ever consider becoming a mentor, and why would you do that?
Absolutely. Um, yes, I will. I will consider a mentor. I think it's very important that mentorship becomes becomes normal in our communities. And I also think that whatever I've learned in my life, uh, there's years of my successes, I can use that as a way to for sure. I'll definitely consider mentoring.
Mhm. Thank you, JD. What about you, Carol? Would you ever consider being mentored or becoming a mentor in the future, even now?
I don't think that right now. I don't think I'm qualified to be a mentor right now because like I haven't really found any cheat codes or hacks that will benefit to people of my age. Um, I think yeah, in the future, if I if if I'm able to help somebody, of course I'm gonna help them and give them advice, and
Mhm.
which should be like common sense to the average person. But yeah,
Mhm.
of course.
Definitely. Mr. Chance Mutuku.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I think it would be a great honor considering like I've mentioned, a lot of the progress that I've done has been, due to having mentors around.
Mhm.
And I can even just backtrack really, really quickly to something that we can that made a lot of sense when I kind of discovered it, early on in my process. And I know we're gonna get to a point where we hear about something really, really cool that Jean-Claude is organizing. But if you don't have the chance to be a part of that, one of the cool things too that that we have, especially today in the digital age, is that your mentor doesn't even have to know you. So, and my mind was blown upon discovering this because, for example, if you're like you're a young athlete or something like that, you have literally like close to thousands of mentors who have like a history that you can kind of backtrack and go and reference, to certain points in their lives and that kind of thing, and look at what they did to kind of succeed and that kind of thing. We have YouTube on our hands. We have lots and lots and lots of books. So again, if you want to continue to diversify your list of your group of people who mentor you, there's a lot of things out there that we can use, and they can be dead or alive. I think it's a super cool thing. But again, coming back to what we're saying, I'm more than down to mentor someone, and I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much. Did I miss anyone on this last question? No? Well, yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I truly appreciate the fact that we all came together this afternoon, and kind of like created this kind of like, I don't know, platform on which we all talk and discuss. And like I said in my video explaining exactly what we're trying to do here, we will be having a monthly discussion group. Today's attendance, I really like the fact that it was really small and intimate in this way. It got us an opportunity to chat a little bit more, so I'm glad as well. Yeah, so there was another person who was trying to join us, but I think he was having technological issues. But hopefully we will resolve that as we go. So for next month, so that's August, it's going to be Chance who present to us about entrepreneurship. But one thing too is you can be a core, co-facilitator as well. So if you want to co-host with somebody else, we can always connect. But again, the point of this is so that we can know each other. We can know who's doing what. But also, like I said, for me specifically, I want it to be okay. I want it to be like, yes, I have an idea. I can run to JD and say, brother, what do you think? The same thing. I want JD to be, French people say à l'aise. They are okay with coming forward and sharing this thing. But then once we start, I know a lot of us here, we don't have kids, all of us on this call. So once we have our own kids, by the time we go there, I want it to be normal for them to, say, okay, Dad, I'm interested in becoming an architect. Do you have a friend that I can talk to? I want it to be that normal. And the other thing is also like representation. The reason why I invited you guys specifically is because I know your strength and I know what you bring to the table. And the more people hear from people like yourself, I think the better it is for our kids in our neighborhood, because they will see, well, JC does this. Wow. So I can also do it. I can even do it better than him. Chance does this. Wow. I'm really triggered. I also want to do it or even do it better than him. And I think that's what we have to do. Carol said, he's too young. No, my friend, I've seen you, where you work right now. I was actually looking at you as you talked to some of your friends last time. And my friend, you are mentoring people, just by working with someone, and they don't have to be younger than you. I can even say here, maybe I haven't told you yet, but there's so many things that I learned from you, and you mentor me also indirectly. That's called like kind of like a tri-mentoring kind of thing. You mentor someone, but they also mentor you as well. All right. But again, I thank you so much, and I want this to continue. Right. So hopefully by the end of this, we know each other. Feel free to connect with each other. I have been recording this call, so hopefully I'll see if we can edit it and then share it, right? Our time is running out. Wait a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
One quick, you already talked about the mentorship program, right?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody's on board then.